One.
One.
You're live, brother.
Okay, good. Okay. Welcome everyone to the I Am Presence Discourse Volume 3 Chants, High Power Invocation. So, Brother Simon Cool?
Yeah. I'm ready.
We're going to chapter 9.
Yeah.
Okay. There was something I wanted to say today. For people that's joining and the people that's coming in the first time. We just on the process. So we'll be meeting 2 hours at a time. We do prayers, we do the decrees for a minute, and we do the chanting for 1 hour. We do so there's only have to God, you know, this gets cute and all like that. We're stepping up our game to become the God that we are, to reignite ourselves in that consciousness. And the way that is done by intensifying the practices and understanding what it is that we're doing here. Saint Germain tells us a few things. If you do decrees for America, he will guarantee you. And we do a whole page of decrees. If you do nothing else, do the decrees for America every day. If you can do it 3 times a day, better. But those decrees take 1 minute and 37 seconds. That's nothing to give up to be guaranteed ascension. It's a miracle that we could get that. And I ain't telling you something I'm not doing. Then there's I was reading ahead in the chapter 26 of this same book, and Jesus the Christ is speaking in that chapter, and he's telling us, look, if you do the decrees like lifting a weight, you're going to get better at it, and you'll be able to manifest. You'll be able to manifest your reality. You'll be able to bring into existence things like a God. I guess that's the easiest way I could put it. You'll be able to bring into existence things like a God would bring into existence. He also said there are some key factors, and one of them is criticism, condemnation, judgment, or blame. This is something we have to give up. It clouds, it diffuses, and it redirects our attention into our ego and not into our God self. And I'm mentioning this because it's one of my problems. I've been watching TV just so to real life. I'm not doing it. It is not something to get easy to get over because it's what we do all the time. Lying is the 5 yamas listed, and anyone that wants it, there'll be the prayers that's there. Each one of these prayers correspond to the chakras. There'll be decrees. All these decrees responding directly to the chakras from the Sahasrara to the Mula. And once I start to the day, be on to help people, to support people going through, because the chance is fine. But once you do it for one of the things that we're doing is the Guru Gita. Guru Gita is an extremely powerful chant. It will do anything. Well, I'm going to go so far as to say there is no chant like Guru Gita. There is no chant more powerful than Guru Gita. It will accomplish anything, no matter what. I dedicate my Guru Gita to the other person, and everyone in the world who comes to listen to matter. This is the best thing I would say to do it for. Do the chance so that the whole planet will come ascended. And but you can do it for money if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but whatever it is that you want, you do it. That's what you think. In the afternoon, there's morning. I've sent everyone a morning decree. Anyone who hasn't gotten a morning decree, email me, and I'll send it to you. Text me, I'll send you an email so I know who it is and where you're coming from. The other thing is, during the day, if you're doing, some people need money, and not everyone. That's a few people who don't need money. The riches of God in my hands and use right now and eternally. And you just say it like you're saying the mantra. I am the riches of God in my hands and use right now and eternally. I am the riches of God in my hands and use right now and eternally. They're coming after our mind. The sinister forces are coming after our mind. They're spraying this stuff, these chemtrails. They're weaponizing the food, water, and air against humanity. And we all know this. Whoever's turning into this channel know that they're coming after us. So Saint Germain gives us a decree for the brain to keep our mind strong, so we're not subject to Alzheimer's or dementia, any of the mental illnesses that they're trying to come after with us with. We know that they're poisoning the medicines, the so-called medicines and they tell you, look, you take this medicine, you're going to die, you're going to commit suicide, or you're going to get cancer, or you're going to get some other malady. And there's no guarantee that that medicine is going to cure you. Just like you did with the vaccine. Take the vaccine to protect you from COVID. The vaccine, no. It's what they call the flu, no. And now they actually on trial for putting out a vaccine that he's making billions of dollars, if not trillions, from for giving out this false information and false so-called medication. So then there's this other decree for the brain. What is it? I am the quickening of the cells in this man's brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty inner presence. That's the decree. I'm the quickening of the cells in this my brain structure, causing it to expand and receive the intelligent direction of the mighty inner presence. I added something onto it because I just want to soup up the brain a little bit more. So I added that decree, giving me total recall of mind, godlike mental abilities, and physical perfection. So it will be physical perfection. And true today, as I'm going to and fro, if I'm washing dishes, or I'm driving in the car, or I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing, I'm dropping these decrees all day, as much as I can. Then there's the most powerful decree of all. Saint Germain says, this is the most powerful decree of all. And it is, I am the conquering presence, and I command this iron presence to govern perfectly my mind. So anybody wants the information, it's free. All you have to do is text it, your email, and I'll send it to you right now. So we're reading right now. Now and chapter 19, my brothers.
Yeah.
Lalji, family, thank you for being patient. Lalji, your sound and your visual is really in need of adjustment. So we're going to take, if possible, Lalji, we're going to take like a 2 or 3 minute, and we'll do the video invocation while perhaps you can make the signal a little better. All right, because people can't really hear you, barely can see you. So
and they
while
can't
we
see
do
me
the
either.
barely, you're really foggy. So if you can do the adjustment, I'm going to put up the videos while Lalji and his queen is adjusting. And thank you everyone for your patience and also your feedback. So just hold on, Lalji. We're just going to play some video while perhaps you can get the transmission a little better.
Should I do it in?
Welcome to magnets, crystals, and pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am.
So there it is.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go. Call to action. The time is now. Summon the warrior energy in you, the healer in you, the divine masculine, the divine feminine energy in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burdens, distractions, and anything that's holding you back and take your rightful place. The battle is all around us, and it's right in your face. Let's go.
Oh, that's much better, Lalji. That's much better.
How
And,
about, how about the sound?
It looks the same to me, but okay.
you can't
great.
see it, but it's much better. And I want to
Okay.
thank all the audience for your patience. All
Okay.
right, so Lalji, the show is yours.
Okay, great. So let's start with the invocation. I'll read the invocation. And Simiku, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, I'll read the invocation, and you can move. You can carry on from there. Anybody that has any questions, just put your hand up. I can't see that, so just chime in and ask your question. Thou mighty, thy majestic presence of the ascended Jesus Christ, thou who hast gained the eternal dominion over all things, thou who dost rest serene in the heart of the eternal Father, pouring forth thy wondrous radiance, enfolding all mankind. We give praise and thanks to thee. Our hearts filled with great rejoicing that the ascended hosts with thee see and manipulate the drawing eternal life for the blessing of humanity. Through his own personal ray, Jesus will now speak his words to the students. I want to say something before you start, Brother Simiku. This is not a Christian class. It's not a Muslim class. It's not a Buddhist class. But we will be speaking about Christian, Islam, Buddhism, all the different teachings in this class. It's not white. It's not black. It's not Egypt. It's not America. although we will speak about Egypt, America, South America, India, Africa, the world. So I just want to make that clear. We are not pertaining to any particular religion. We are speaking to our God self, our mighty I am presence, the guru within. That's what this is about. All right. My brother, Simiku, everyone in the audience, this is Brother Simiku. He's going to be doing the discourse. Anyone who has a question, just, stop us and ask your question. Or if you have a comment, introduce your comment. All right, my brother, let's begin.
All right, thank you. Mink Bakat to everybody. Good morning. Great rising. I hope all is well with each and every one of you. Okay, Discourse by the beloved Jesus Christ, or the beloved Jesus. I know for some of us it's going to be a challenge to hear that, because when we become more thought-provoked thought toward what we believe was, or what we know is real and what we know is not real, the name Jesus Christ really doesn't come up because of how it was presented to us and how it was driven into us and things that happened around it. But as we read this, we're reading about ourselves. So just put yourself as the Jesus Christ, or the I am presence, is what it's going to manifest out to be. And hopefully you'll understand what not understand, but understand what I understand today about this presence that lives in each and every one of us. And it's a good explanation here in the first paragraph, where it says that, hang on a second. When I said, I am the open door which no man may shut, I meant humanity to understand. I refer to the great I am, which is the life of every individual manifest in form. I thought that was a jewel, because what that's telling you is you have the same ability, God presence, Lord, mighty power as this Jesus Christ that we've come to know and come to understand what it is. It says, I did not wish to convey that the personal Jesus was the only one to whom this great privilege was ordained. Each one of you, beloved children of the one Father, has the same mighty presence within you, the great I am, that I have and that I had at that time, by which I achieved the final eternal victory. So I don't know how many people out there know the I am, but what I've come to understand, it is God presence within me that manifests itself, and that can manifest itself and will manifest itself sometime or another in our lives. We continue to seek that higher ascension. Sort of like atoms and electrons coming together. All right, I'm on page 220 now, at the top. And one thing what I would just say too is that as I go through there and I say jewel, that's just something that came out to me that I thought that was important, that helps me to continue to understand what the I am presence is, and that how I can continue to manifest mine on a daily basis.
Let me chime in here 1 minute, Brother Simiku.
Okay.
We are all the God presence. When we came here, we came like children, as children, with forgiveness like automatic, love pouring out our heart. But we came to the most wicked planet in the universe, planet Earth. Some of us came here to help. Some of us came here for karma. Most of us came here for our karma, because of our karma. I am presence means I am God. And these are the most powerful words in the universe. I am. The moment we say I am, we are evoking power, and we are evoking the power of our God self that's pouring into us literally like a tornado. It's a blue light of tornado pouring into our head. It is God. Once it goes past this part, the head, the top of our head, now we're that God, because we're getting God energy. I am begins everything in our lives. Every creature know it exists. I am is a manifestation of that. And when you say I am, you are evoking the power of God, your God self. So when Jesus is speaking now, And this information is not channeled. It's coming through a device. It's coming from their technology into this realm, Earth. Their technology is far more advanced than ours. So what we're hearing is not channeled information, but Jesus as an ascended master, as a God being, with a holy host of other sitters and ascended masters, speaking to us his direct words. Excuse me, my brother. Let's continue.
All right. Okay, I'm on page 220 at the top. Here I wish you to understand encouragement, strength, and certainty in your minds that the consciousness I used for the great victory was the use of the I am presence. Says, which you are being taught. I had made search through all avenues available at the time, and at the last determination and desire for the truth led me to the great master whom you shall one day know. He gave to me the inner secret and the mighty acknowledgement, turning me to that mighty presence, the great I am. Through his radiation, I was enabled to comprehend and at once began using it. This is the only way by which any individual of the ray of God may achieve the eternal victory and build his structure upon a firm foundation from which no outer activity can ever disturb him. Now you have to have read the Magic Present because it talked a lot about the rays, but I kind of see the rays as energy radiating out from people as an example of their God I am presence. So for instance, like someone makes you angry, instead of you getting angry, you turn around and flip it around and show them love and compassion. So that will radiate out. Other people will see that, and they will see what a difference that would make. Because one of the stories in the middle and the Magic Presence was the lady had a gold mine. She had a superintendent who was evil. Godfrey, who was a student of the Ascended Master Saint Germain, went there, was working with them. The guy was ripping her off, and then he went off on Godfrey. But instead of Godfrey getting angry, he said, "You know what? In love and harmony and peace and respect to you, this is what I'm going to do." And instead of him showing the evil, he showed the good and actually won the man over to his side. So the ray of God is sort of like that. He shows us love, and we should show love to other people in all situations, whether they're good or bad, negative or positive. Lalji, you want to expound on the rays?
Yeah. This incident that he's talking about was in volume 1 of this. We've been at this now for 18 months, and we're studying this information of Saint Germain. There are 20 volumes. We're going to do 4, and then we're going to go on to the next volume that we do is Player Consciousness. But what happened in this instant, Godfrey Ray King connected with his I am presence. His I am presence spoke to him. So when this guy was trying to rip off this sister that brother Simiku is talking about now, the I am presence came right through him. He told everybody, "Don't move," and he started, he laid it on him, and he disconnected him from his ego. And I want to say this about the ego, y'all. The ego is not our friend. We built it with our God presence, with our God ability. That's what we built our ego with. The problem was we jumped into our ego like as if it was ourself. It's not ourself. It's a construct. It's a personality, and it's not always the same. It goes to and fro depending on where we are. If we're with our parents, we got a different ego. If we're with our loved ones, a different ego. If we're around our friends, a different ego. This ego has many sides, but its sole purpose is to destroy. It is not your friend. The same way you jumped into that ego, you may not be so easily able to jump out because you've been thinking that you are it for these decades or however long you've been alive. But you can jump out. You can go back into your God self. So, and this is what this process is. This process, these teachings, the knowledge to give us this information of what we've been doing and how to get back to our God self. And I want to say this. I'm not just doing a course here to entertain. This is a process to get back and get solid in our God self. And I want to say straight up, I'm the worst on the floor here. Criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame has been my bread and butter. I'm going to stop talking to get out of this evil habit. Lying, I've been pretty good not doing that. But this criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, it seems as if we got it right, all of us. We got it right. And it is the biggest problem, according to Saint Germain, in the entire universe. This is happening on all planets, with all people. And of course, the universe is filled with life everywhere, intelligent life. And so this is what I want to interject right here. It is practicing these decrees. It is practicing the mantra, practicing the meditation, practicing the chanting, practicing the prayers. And the decrees is far more powerful than the prayers. The chanting, these practices will take you there. And then there's the yamas and niyamas, the things we do and the things we should do and the things we should not do. And then there's the study, scriptural study. As much as you can get it in. You only need a little scriptural study to figure out the right path to go, right? And for the most part, we pretty much know. A lot of us don't know about that we're not the ego. A lot of us don't know some of these teachings, but they're super duper powerful, and they were not here all the time. These teachings that we're reading right now, they were not common knowledge, and it was not here all the time. In fact, there's never been a time in the whole history, the billion years of planet Earth's history, has there been this much information for the average person to get. The violet flame, the 7 sacred flames, they were not out there for everybody to get. Being able to contact a spiritual master, all of this, not so easy. Now we have abundance of this because the sinister forces are coming to lay low us, matter of fact, to take us out. And anyone can see that. Check out online, the Club of Rome. They're telling you this is an organized group to eliminate humanity. The Georgia Stones are right here in Georgia, where I'm at now, telling you we got to keep humanity at a 3.5 million people. Right now we have power, and why? Because there's so many of us. There's billions of us, and we can defeat the sinister forces through love, through repeating these decrees, repeating the mantra, meditating, realizing who we are, and jumping out of the ego back into our God self. Who sent that? There was a man, just to give you an idea, there was a man, my good brother, texted something to remind the audience. There was a brother, a man, he came to see my guru, Swami Muktananda Paramahansa. And he was on the darshan line. The darshan is it means having a direct experience, to meet the God presence. Because the guru, the true guru, is the God presence. And he was frustrated. I met this man. He was frustrated about the guru speaking of love and the teachings that he was, and he wanted to kind of like let the guru know that what you're saying is not true, is false, right? So he came up on the darshan line and he whipped out a gun. He said to my guru, he said, "What would happen if I shot you right now?" And he said, my guru said to him, "My love will be coming at you." And at that very moment, the moment my guru said these words, it was as if he shot a bolt of light into this man. And he dropped on his knees. He dropped on his knees. Now, he wasn't the only one that felt that love. We just didn't need to come up and do such a diabolical experience. That love came into this guy and he fell on his knees right then. He got it right then, the love of a God being. I want to say this about Christ, about Jesus too. He attained the Christ. His last name was not Christ. Christ is something within us that we just don't jump into like we jump into our ego. Christ is a state of consciousness. It is not a surname. Christ is a state of consciousness. So that's why you hear people say, Jesus the Christ. So, my brothers, Simiku, let's rock and roll.
All right. Okay, I'm in the second paragraph, page 220. And like you just said, it's a consciousness that we develop and that we learn to rely on and we learn to call on the more we press in on our ascension. I'm on the second paragraph, page 220. All who have achieved the mighty victory and who have been able to...
No. I think you're in the wrong places. At this time, I wish to convey.
I know, but well, I can read that, but I wasn't going to read, but I can read. At this time, I wish to convey the simple, all-powerful use of the presence to you. All who have achieved a mighty victory and who have been able to raise their bodies as I did, or who raised them before, have used the conscious activity of that mighty, eternal presence I am. But I would just like to say there briefly that as we go along, developing it and developing a understanding and a deep love and appreciation for that within ourselves. Because this is where our ancient ancestors in Egypt said to know thyself. Some people say to know thyself and know that you are God. Well, being that there was so much held from us, this might seem foreign to most of us, but that's where, if you're on here listening, that's where you're trying to get to. That's your ascension, you know. So we're taking that consciousness and we're elevating it. We're getting it to the point to where we can truly see that within ourselves every day, every minute, every second. All right, I'm going on to the third paragraph. When I said to my disciples and to humanity, the things that I do shall ye do also, and even greater things shall ye do. I know whereof I spoke, knowing that within each individualization or child of God there was this mighty I am presence, by whose use are impelled forward with no uncertainty. I say impelled because I mean just that. Now, on page 220, I have a lot of most of the whole page as a jewel, because there's a lot of instructions, there's a lot of things that we should know. Again, a jewel is something to me that leaped out at me that I thought that was relevant, that I thought that was important, so I underlined it. Okay, so that's what a jewel is. If you hear people saying that. Okay, 220.
221.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. 221. First paragraph, first whole paragraph. The constant use of your I am present, the constant use of your I am present does impel you forward in spite of any activity of the outer self. So long as this single idea is held firmly, storms, distresses, disturbances may rage about you. But in the consciousness of the I am presence, you can and are able to stand serene, unmoved by the seething vortex of human creation, which may or may not be about you. And a good example of that is COVID-19, coronavirus, chemical trails, all this stuff that's going on around us. Studying this, knowing that I am present, and knowing the power that you have can keep your foundation firm to where you won't be moved, you won't be shaken, you won't be stirred in any shape, form, or fashion. Second paragraph, 221. There is but one way by which you and the Father may become eternally one, and that is through the full acceptance of his I presence, energy, love, wisdom, and power, which he has given you, golden links, golden steps, by which you climb serenely upward into the final achievement. That kind of reminds me of, we talk about energy all the time, and the energies of around us, and what energies manifest themselves. But we found out that love is the greatest energy of all. And it said we will have wisdom and we will have power. And sure, wisdom beyond anything we can imagine, and power behind anything we can imagine. We were talking about these chemical trails, and I think one of the questions was asked, well, can we stop them? And I said no. But then again, as I went on and read and understood this, it couldn't be stopped. It can be stopped. So there's things that the I am presence can achieve. There's nothing that it cannot achieve. I'm at that point. Okay, third paragraph. Sometime, somewhere, every individualization of God the Father must find his way back to the Father through his I am presence, fulfilling his cycle or cycle of individualization in the use of activity and outer self. The earth is the only sphere in which there is the density of an atomic structure that you experience. The consciousness, recognition, and use of the I am present, which you are steadily raising, the vibratory action of your atomic structure, unclothing the liberating and electronic activity, which is hidden within the atom, enabling you to become self-luminous beings.
I want to cut in
Now,
here for a minute, Brother Semenku. I want to cut in here because this is a high power jewel. So as we are reading this, what he's saying right here is God is in.
Let me read it again.
Okay,
let me read it again, Lali. Let me read it again. Okay, page 221, the third paragraph. Sometime, somewhere, every individualization of God the Father must find its way back to the Father through his I am presence, fulfilling his cycle or cycles of individualization and the use of the activity of the outer self. The earth is the only sphere in which there is a density of atomic structure that you experience. The conscious recognition and use of the I am present, which you are, steadily raising the vibratory actions of your atomic structure, unclothing and liberating the electronic activity, which is hidden within the atom, enabling you to become self-luminous beings. Okay, Lalji, you got it.
The electrons, the atoms and electrons will move toward the power of the spoken word. God hides within every electron. And what you'll find as you read some of the scriptures, that those atoms are solar systems. And within those electron around the atom, around the nucleus, are worlds, just like this planet here. God hides within the electrons. And it is like this. When we think, not even speaking, when we think, electrons are automatically attracted to our thoughts to give back to us in the way of an act, an object, or an event what we thought. This is why it's so important to control your thoughts. When we speak, it's even more powerful. When we draw it out and we write what it is that we're thinking, more power than like a blueprint. It's the actual coming event. It is the manifestation of the coming event when you write it out. But when you're speaking with a dynamic tension and power and clear thought, you are forcing into reality what you said in the way of an action, an object, or an event. So like when Saint Germain says, this is the most powerful decree, I am the conquering president, and I command this, I am president, govern perfectly my mind, home affairs, and world. You are really ordering all the atoms all around you, trillions of which they are, to bring back to you what it is you said through the power of the spoken word. God hides within the electrons and the atoms. That's where he's at, all around us, not just in us, all around us. So in this atmosphere, this air that we exist within, it's God. Every atom is God. Every electron is God. Every human being is an individualized manifestation of God. But here's the clinker with that. You got free will. You have free will. And nobody, no God, nobody is going to interfere or can interfere with your free will. So as a God being, as you decide to think, say, and do, you create your world. You create your reality. This is the key to our existence. This is why it is so guaranteed, if we decide so, that we can switch back into our God presence and manifest anything with the power of the spoken word or even thought. So I just wanted to add that into us. I add that into this conversation. They're telling us right here, we have the power to ignite, motivate, and manifest through these electrons. It's all around us. We are God. It is God. It is automatically attracted to what we think, say, and do. All right, my brother. Brother Sekou.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. I was going to say a little bit about slavery because I saw the part where it said cycles. You got to find your way back. And I know we are finding our way back to our I am presence. And I'm glad that this course is being taught. And I hope that everybody can get the same out of it that I'm getting out of it. Because yes, we are cycling back to who we were. Okay, I'm on page 222 at the very top. I wish it here distinctly understood by all who may receive his or ever contacted that I am not, never was a special being created of God, different from the rest of humanity. It is true that I made previous conscious efforts and had attained much previous to the embodiment in which I won the eternal victory. My choice of experience 2,000 years ago was to set the example which every individualization of God would and must sooner or later follow. So how I urge you, beloved children of God, to look upon me as your elder brother, one with you. When I said or left the word that I am with you always, and the I am present which I am, and which you are is one, therefore do you not see how I am with you always? Think deeply on this and try to feel its reality. Because why? We're the I am presence also. So that's Jesus talking. Bible I have, then you know that he said, I'm always with you. I am with you always. So that presence in you that we just talked about on another page, the electrons, the atoms, speaking the words, that's what he's talking about. He said, that's why I'm with you always. Not in physical form, but in the atoms and the electrons and the God presence within you. All right, I'm here on third paragraph, page 222. I have this as a jewel part of it. At the time and after my ascension, I saw the immensity of the radiation I would be able to pour forth to my beloved brothers and sisters upon the earth from the sphere in which I have become fitted to dwell. I wish to say to you in all truth, every individual who will send his conscious thought, your mind, to me with the desire to be raised above the limitations of earth or of his own creation, and will live accordingly, will receive every assistance from me that is possible to be given according to the steps of growth and consciousness, which he attains from time to time. I had that as a jewel for me.
It is
because again, that's instruction. That is instruction on how to do it. And if you get instructions on how to do something like that, I'll consider that a jewel.
That's a jewel.
So do not misunderstand me at this point. I'm moving on to page 223 now. I refer to growth. I am speaking of humanity in general. I do not refer to someone who has previous attainment sufficient, which, in their present use, a full acceptance of their I am present. They may rend the veil of human creation and step forth into the embrace of the ascended, blazing I am present. And at any time, I have that as a jewel too, part of that. There are some in the group of students already drawn together for whom it is possible to do this. That depends entirely upon themselves, upon the claim, poised intensity by which they become conscious of their I am presence. And I keep emphasizing that word conscious, conscious, conscious. We always say, well, we're conscious, man, I'm conscious, because we know this or that. But the I am presence is a conscious electromagnetic power within us, atoms, that has always been in us. And we need to be conscious of that and how to use that. Second paragraph. These great things I bring to you because I proved them in my own personal experience. Before I became fully decided in what manner I should leave the example to humanity, I suddenly, from an inner impulse, began to use the statement, I am the resurrection and the life. Within 48 hours after I began using that statement, with great rejoicing, I saw what was to be done. And I wish to assure you that it was the conscious use of the mighty statement, I am the resurrection and the life, which enabled me to make the ascension in the presence of so many and imprint or record upon the etheric records that example of all humanity, which will stand eternally present. Now, again, with Lalji said earlier about the spoken word, conscious is mind. So we say a mind is mental, the universe is all we go. So we need to always be understanding that spoken word, as I said earlier, it's going to create. The atom is going to create, and all to us as we seek this I am present and the different things and changes in which is going to take place. Okay, I'm on page 224 at the beginning. No, that's part of that class. I'm sorry. Yeah, 224. And I'm going to read part of that paragraph. It's going to be the end of the paragraph. I am presence, the same as I had, by which he could attain through the same thing I did and win the eternal victory. Such, beloved students, is my personal message I leave with you, spoken through the light and sound ray in which any of you may enter, see, and hear with sufficient conscious preparation. Again, we go back to the earth where we're dealing with light, energy, we're dealing with sound, resonance, vibration, spoken word. Again, I urge you to think of me as your elder brother, ready to give your assistance at all times. Do not think of me as a transcendent being so far beyond your reach that contact is impossible. For the I am present, which enabled me to make the ascension, is the same. I am present that will enable you to make the ascension as I did. Only today you have the assistance of the great ascended host of beings who have won the eternal victory, and joyous stand at your service as you make yourselves ready. And we're talking to students here too, you know that, because it said earlier, or in some of the chapters, this was referring to students. So you're still a student until you achieve that ascended high or that eternal victory. So that means we still are in the learning process and phase, which I know I am. With my love, I enfold you again. I repeat, I am with you always. Okay, this next quote is from Saint Germain. Did I not have a surprise for you? Okay, the benediction. Until the fullness of thy mighty silence, O great presence, we come to rest, to feel thy peace, to love thy harmony, pervading all. Almighty love present, which beats the hearts of all mankind, strengthen thyself within thy hearts. Draw and hold thy conscious attention upon thee, the great love star in the heart of each one. Glorify thy presence and thy creator in them. Bless all mankind with that strength to look only to thee and to stand steadfast facing me. That's it.
That's chapter 9. That's chapter 19. We're going to go on. We're going to continue on to chapter 20. Brother Simon and I discussed it that he would take one chapter, I'd take another, and we're going to continue. Does anybody have any questions on that chapter? In the audience, in the Zoom, does anybody have any questions on that chapter? Now, I told y'all many times before, I said, don't everybody speak at once, so, y'all can't all talk at the same time. All right, if there's no questions or comments, I'm going to go on to chapter 20.
I was that good. You was that
good, my brother. And you gave that, and you did an excellent job, as usual. All right.
I hope you learned something. That's the main thing.
Wow. Yeah, well, you're going to get it as we keep going on. We're going to get it as we keep going on, because this is the third time I'm reading the book, right? Probably more, but third time I'm kind of like, right, marking it down. And there's things that I read before then, as I'm reading it now, it's just so much more clear. And they also say that you should read this particular volume in the I Am Presence group. And I'm not part of that group. I'm just using Saint Germain's information so we can study it. I don't do well in groups, you know, unless it's my own group. And so I like to be independent. But God knowledge is independent. You know, we can always approach God on the level that we can approach God and see God in the way we can see God. But we don't want to get fanatic. On Sundays today, I would go over to like the Hare Krishna place because I love God. I don't care what you want to call God. God is one. This is one signal, like the rays of the sun, right? That's one signal giving many individual rays, right? That's God. I went into the place and I was talking about another God being, another Christ-like being, and his name is Nityananda. He's the guru of my guru, right? And he is so great. We call him Bhagawan Nityananda, which means Lord Nityananda or God Nityananda. That he is one with all ascended beings, all Siddha beings, and God himself, right? So this guy goes, no, he's not God. He's not God. Only God is God. And he wants to argue, which is what they like to do. They like to memorize slokas or not chapters, verses from the scriptures, but only one scripture, only the Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks about Lord Krishna. And, you know, he's like 20 something. And, you know, foolishly on my part, I said, homie, I don't want to hear that. Allah is God. Jesus is God. Buddha is God. Ram is God. Vishnu is God. I don't want to hear you talking about Krishna is the only God, because all of them are Krishna. All of them are Jesus. All of them are in the same light. They are one, just like the rays are one. And I don't want to hear this fanatic nonsense. I don't want to hear about only Jesus is God. I don't want to hear about only Krishna is God. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear only Ram or only Buddha or only whoever you say is God. Only Zeus is God or only Mithras is God. Don't want to hear it. You know, go inside and learn a little bit more. And I told him, I've been studying this before you were born. I had a direct experience that my guru, who is God, gave me. You read a book and you think you know, you're going into this fanaticism. And many people have been subject to this. This is why so many people are turned off from Christianity or even Islam, right? Or even Buddhism. Many religions, people are just turned off from this fanatic reality of who God is. Look, God is every single solitary thing, from the highest consciousness of the Supreme Lord of the universe to an electron. Matter of fact, and smaller than an electron is a lepton, right? God is all of that. All of that. Everything that is God. This is the understanding about this I am that I am. Every human being. Brother Simiku, who just read chapter 19, there was a part in there, he said, when you see somebody going wrong, let's say, right? We can only see that from our point of view. And this is what Saint Germain is saying. We only see these things from our point of view. We don't see what their God, their Trinity or their God self or their I am presence is set them up as a destiny to experience. We don't see that. What we should be saying when we see that is only God is acting there. Whether we see somebody shoot somebody, we may not like it. It may be traumatizing to us. Whether we see a man beat up on his wife or get drunk or do something stupid, maybe that's what that person has to experience so they can know not to do it again. Generally, it doesn't happen, but it happens often, right? We only see things from our point of view, and then we begin to criticize, condemn, criticism, condemnation, judgment, and blame. We do that. Every human being is going to pay for what they do. You're not going to do something and get away with it. You're not going to get it beyond the law. It's just not how it works. The law is within us. The law is us. So as we do what it is that we do, right or wrong, we're gonna experience the consequences of that. We're not going to get away from anything. And just like Lord Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, as he was teaching Arjuna, he said, Arjuna, never was there a time that you or I did not exist, nor will there ever come a time when we will cease to exist. We are immortal beings in a physical body. There's plenty time for us to experience the good we have done as well as the bad. Consider this. Our karmas follow us from birth to birth. Why in the world would Lord Jesus experience what he experienced on planet Earth, doing only good like he did? What karmas was following him that happened? I can only wonder. And many other, oh my God. What about Simeon Togo? How they cut up his body and he just brought it back, just reassembled it through his God presence, through his God ability. Why would anybody want to do that to him? The sinister forces are deep, y'all. That's what's really happening. The sinister forces are deep, and they're not playing. Most of us are playing. We might do a little bit of prayers, a little bit of decrees, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of this and that, and not be disciplined even in that. You got to be on it. You got to live your life to be God. If you wanted to be a trillionaire, even a millionaire, or, well, not so much a millionaire. A million isn't what it used to be. But let's say you want to be a billionaire. You got to pretty much dedicate your life to accomplishing that goal, if that is your goal. Isn't the goal of becoming a God man or woman far more greater than that? So how much of your life do you think you need to dedicate to become that person? To say, you know, I hurt this person's feelings. I gotta watch what I say. Maybe somebody doing something wrong. My wife told me about a guy just yesterday who will never drive at all. And she wondered why. She'd see him walking, waiting for the bus, and asked him, why do you do that? Why don't you just drive? You know, you could drive. He said, I used to drive, but I got drunk one day and I killed somebody in my car. I will never drive again. Now, this mistake, this accident, some would call it a sin, some would call it a crime, right? Caused him to stay out of vehicle, stay out of driving a vehicle, even though part of that was never drinking too. When we see somebody do something wrong, the best thing for us to do, instead of criticizing, condemning, and judging, just say, God is acting there. I read a story about a guy who took a life to be a bum to inspire another man to create the Alcoholics Anonymous. I thought, wow, this is really deep. The ways of God are so mysterious, you just don't know. Even this concept of free will. Everybody in the universe does not have free will. This is an experiment. And where do these experiments come from? From the beings in the sun and the beings in the central sun, right? They're experimenting. Each one of these solar systems are experimenting with raising consciousness. Where? In the planets that they control. The sun controls this solar system, and there's 36 planets here. I know we've been told there's 9, which is among many of the lies that we've been told. Many, many lies we've been told. And I want y'all to think about this, especially those who have multiple degrees and you've been sanctioned as a knower, as somebody who actually knows. But did you ever think what it is that you've been taught and you memorized and you took tests and all of that any of that is true? And I'm going to tell you straight away, 99.9% of everything that you've learned, even the math, is false, is a lie, designed to hold you back. A lie. And I want you to try an experiment. Call up an author of some of the books that you've read to see if they actually wrote the book. Many of the people, and they did a program on this in WBAI, that many of the books that we read and that we think is so genius, right? If you call up the author like a researcher will do, and go to the bibliography of their books and, you know, get those books and then read on, all right? You'll find out they didn't read many of those books that they list as where they got the source of information. And even more important, if you're earnest and they feel this coming from your heart, they would say, you know, son, or my sister, I didn't write that book. And truth be told, I didn't even read it. They just used my name to get a validation and credibility. And this is a common thing. Yeah, a common thing. And later on in this very book, Jesus says, I didn't say when I was on the cross, God, why have thou forsaken me? He didn't say that. He said that thank you for glorifying me, right? And he did say that I did take the guy who was on my right into the glory with me. I did take him into the heaven with me. That's what he said, you know? So that's what Jesus said through this not channeled information, but through their device in the seventh dimension to this dimension here. I'm going to start reading chapter 20, the beginning of chapter 20. I'm going to read the invocation. Thou mighty, invincible, I am presence. I speak thyself into the heart of the children of men. Fill their hearts and mind to following with the magnificence of thy presence, with a conscious strength to look to thee and know thee as the one, mighty, eternal source of all things by which the consciousness of mankind is sustained. Make them know thy great ownership, that it is thee alone who art the owner and giver of all things, that they may thus manifest unselfishly one to the other. We thank thee. I bring you greetings from the great host who are ever pouring their radiant presence into your lives. Now, this is Saint Germain speaking now, right? I also want to say something just so we don't miss this. Because of the great work that Jesus has done for the planet, anything you ask in the name of Jesus will be granted to you. This is what they say in these discourses, which are really as powerful as any scripture. In fact, the ascended masters say there is no volume of works more powerful than these 21 volumes that they have delivered to humanity. And many of the things, like the violet flame, was not even available to people who were brought into the retreats until they found out about it and then start asking questions of the ascended masters about it. They weren't even available to these pre-mastered beings that's in retreats, that when you go into these retreats, you don't come out a human being anymore. You come out ascended. And if we could, and we have a decree to ask God to let us go into the retreat of the beloved God Tabor, who is in the Rockies in America. There's many retreats in America that are closed to most of humanity, but there are those other ashrams and other retreats that are open where the same information is available. And if you attain enough of momentum, you know, that you don't live in criticism, condemnation, and blame. You don't live in lies. You don't live in deceit. You don't live in lust. There is a great possibility that you could be asked to be brought into these retreats. In the 30s, they took many people and they brought them into these retreats. And when I say many, I don't mean hundreds. I mean a few, but it was open. Now they're closed. There was a retreat that I lived in India that we could just walk in, come, go whenever we want. Now it's not like that. You can't go to these powerful retreats just like that. There are some that's still open, you know, but they are not going to always be available. They're not going to always stay open. So take into consideration, just like we had a bookstore in New York called Wiser's. We took for granted that it would always be there. But we only found out later that they had a charter that they would only be open, that they would only be in existence for the public to come in, only for a certain amount of years. And then it closed. It's the same thing with what we're doing right now. These teachings that we're giving, these prayers, decrees, chanting, mantra with meditation, or mantra and meditation. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what's going to come to disrupt what it is we're doing, or that the master says, okay, that's the end of it. You've given out to these treats. The guru now, Guru Mai, said this clearly. I don't need people coming here to be bowing to me. That's what this is about. Coming here all fancily dressed and so forth and so on. Yeah, half Hollywood coming to the ashram. She said, I just need pure disciples. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to entertain people or people to come and bow to me like as if I'm somebody that's what you need to do. And then slowly but surely, she started closing down access to the ashram. So I would say anybody that's serious, do not take for granted this information, books that are out, videos that you see. There was a video right on Uncle Hank's channel. What's the channel? The WhatsApp. It was about this WhatsApp was about Talos, where this guy had found an interest in Mount Shasta to Talos, and they took that video down so fast. It was amazing. It wasn't up 2-3 weeks. And then they snatched it up. Also, videos about Operation High Jump. What happened in the Antarctica? They just took those videos down and gave us some popcorn videos about what really happened. So value this information. When you see it, seize it. If you can record some of these videos that are so powerful, record them, because they're going to be taken down. If they're super high powered, they're going to be taken down. Anyway, let me continue. It is with great rejoicing that the many who have been observant of this accomplishments see how truly the students are entering into the mighty I Am present, and how the things that have been disturbing are being dissolved and are dropping away as though they never have been. Beloved students, can you realize how great our rejoicing is? We have trotted the path of attainment into the great freedom of mysteries over all limitations. We rejoice to see you entering into this presence, which, if maintained, will bring you certainly and surely to this same freedom. They're talking about the God freedom, the Christ conscious self, yourself. It is only when the outer becomes sufficiently obedient, giving all power to the great inner presence, that one finds peace and rest in this mighty acknowledgement. In that peace and rest flows a mighty river of energy, like a mountain stream flowing through a fertile valley, lined with flowers and perfect vegetation. So in the peace that passes understanding to you, move more and more, finding that eternal river of energy flowing into and through your being, spreading its blazing and opulence into your life and experience everywhere you go. While it is true that the intelligence is the channel through which you must receive, yet as you feel with deep sincerity the truth of the I Am presence, you will find the stillness becoming greater and greater, until one day thou shalt see the door of thy creation open wide before thee, and thou shalt step forward with open arms into that freedom, inhaling the fragrance of the pure atmosphere of the etheric world, wherein thou wilt be able to mold that plastic substance into the perfection of everything upon which thy desire is held. You are making such splendid progress. Do not let any fear of person, place, condition, or things interrupt or disturb you, for the presence of the light stands before you, beckoning you on, that you may be held in its fond embrace, receiving of its boundless riches of every description which it holds in store for you. I want to speak on this piece right here. We'll do this. Maybe one day will come. Some people will come for a month. Some people will come for a week. Some people, in this very course of over the last 18 months, came for a year. But life veered them off into different directions. And some of them just got tired. You know, I'm tired of getting up 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired of getting up 6 o'clock in the morning. I start this course at 6 because the people on the West Coast, 6 o'clock here is 3 o'clock there. Excuse me. 6 o'clock here is 3 o'clock there. So, but for me, the most ideal time to get up is 4 o'clock to start doing the practices. Difficult to do the practices in the afternoon. But in the evening, before you go to bed, like before you fall into that somnambulistic state where you're just too tired to do your decrees and prayers, and maybe 15 or 20 minutes of meditation. So start at 7 o'clock or 7:30, you know, after dinner, you know, maybe take a little walk to kind of like walk off that food. And then, you know, come to say your prayers before, you know, say your practices before you go to bed. My guru would wake up 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock when he was doing this powerful sadhana that was taking him to this above ascension, to full realization. And he would meditate from 3 to 6. Then he would meditate from 3 in the morning to 6 in the morning. Then he would meditate from 9 to 12 in the morning. He did this religiously. Then he would meditate from 6 to 9 in the evening. I should have said the afternoon, but 6 and 9 in the evening. His life was devoted to becoming his God self, to become fully realized, right? And he died. He would tell you in his book, he died and he woke up from that death. And I mean, literally, the body died, but he brought it back to life. So if you want to attain, if you want to really accomplish your God self, you have to devote your life to it. Does that mean you don't go to work? No, you go to work and you dedicate that work to God. Now you're doing Guru Seva or God Seva or I am presence, your God self Seva, no matter what you do. Even if you're a typist in somebody's office, or you're a chimney sweep, or you whatever you do, a carpenter, a plumber, electrician, dedicate that work that you do to God. And now this work becomes you working for your own God self, your own God purpose, to become the Christ. So there's no excuse for what, and all you, even to work alone, if you're doing it like that, this is service to God. This is really spiritual practice. And what is our spiritual practices? Prayer, meditation, chanting, which is chanting mantras, decrees, service to God, studying scriptural words or divine words that help us become God, like the one we're reading now. Let me continue. Simiku, where did I leave off? You remember?
Oh, you're on 228.
220, is that the second paragraph? I shall not say anything?
I believe so.
Okay, so we'll start from there. Second paragraph on 228. I shall now say something which may seem astonishing. This is Saint Germain speaking. And I've never read anybody speaking as powerful as Ascended Masters. Their deliverance of everything just seems so perfect, which I guess goes with is par with the course. It may seem astonishing, but I assure you it is very true. Last night, as the question was asked, had you all been together before, I wish it would not have been possible for you to have been drawn into this intensified action of the great inner law if you had not previously had harmonious associations and training. And this is in other lives. While it may be difficult at first for you to comprehend it, you are receiving intensified training, which heretofore has only been given after 3 years probation in the retreats. Some of you have stored up treasures of energy. I mean by that, energy created by your conscious activity through your I am presence. Others have stored up treasures of light. Again, others have treasures of love. Others have gold and jewels which were in keeping to be used in this embodiment. Several of you are on the point of releasing into visibility into your hands these stored up treasures. Do not think I have gone into fancy daydreaming, but I am calling this to your attention for your benefit and blessings. Now let me say something here. That whole page was a jewel. You would not be interested in this work. You would not be interested to go to YouTube if you're watching from YouTube, or even come into Zoom where we're a little bit more personal, right? You would not be interested in this information at all if you had not been doing intense spiritual work in other lifetimes. We are going for the ascension now. We are this class, this study group is going for it, but nobody's going to make you do it. You have to decide, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this. I'm too tired today. I just don't feel like doing it. Or some may come and say, that's boring, that's corny, or whatever it is. You are given a chance, but you would not have been doing this if you had not been doing it before. Also consider this. My guru told us, he said, on planet Earth, 1 in every 100,000 people, there is only 1 in every 100,000 people in this world that would be interested in truly spiritual information. I mean, going for it like we're going for it, doing the practices. 1 in 100,000. He said, if you took 100,000 of that one So if you got 1 in 100,000, if you took 100,000 of such beings, right, that are so interested in this information, he says only 1 or 2 out of all of them will attain full realization or ascension. So consider this. This is how rare the experience is. This is how rare that individual is that's going to just keep on going after it until they get it. But if you don't get it in this life, you will get it in future lives, but you will get it. Let me continue. I wish each one of you, and we got 2 minutes. I'm going to stop right here. I want to know if there's anybody who has any questions. Anyone who have any questions. I don't want everybody to speak at once. And I definitely don't want y'all to be quiet because we just read some jewels today. Any questions or any statements or comments? Anyone? Because we stop at 12 o'clock. Sometimes we go to 12:30. Matter of fact, we generally go to 12:30. So you know what? I'm going to keep going. But does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, I'm going to continue. I wish each one of you to go by yourself sometime today for at least 5 minutes and talk to your I am presence, your God self. Something like this. I put this in a form of a prayer for us to say every day. So this is what he's saying. To talk to your I am presence, something like this. Great massive presence, which I am. I love, I adore thee. I give back unto thee the fullness of all creative power, all love, all wisdom. And through this power which thou art, I give thee full power to make visible in my hands and use the fulfillment of my every desire. I no longer claim any power as my own, for I now claim thee, the only and all-conquering presence in my home, my life, my world, and my experience. I acknowledge the full supremacy and command of all things. And as my consciousness is fixed upon an achievement, your invincible presence and intelligence take command and bring the fulfillment into my experience quickly, even with the speed of thought. I know place and space. Therefore, thou requires only now to bring into visible activity thy every perfection. I stand absolutely firm in this full acceptance of this, for now and forever. I shall my mind to waver from it, for at last I know we are one. This is a prayer that I put into our prayers, and we do them every day. So this is what he's asking us to do, to bring our consciousness to the realization that you and God, we and God are one. In fact, just like the rays of the sun, those rays are all coming from one place. They are one, but they are individual too. And they may do different things. One may go into a plant, the other may go into being an animal or into the earth itself to warm it. But those rays are one. We're at the bottom of 229, the last paragraph in 229. Beloved students, you may add or weave into this anything else you wish for your requirements. And I assure you, if you can live in this, and I shall endeavor to help you do so, you will experience the opening of the floodgates of God's abundance. I want to add something to that, because when they say what they say, when the ascended masters, when especially Saint Germain saying what he's saying, exactly what he's saying he means. Say this prayer every day, twice a day, 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. Develop a schedule, which I have already put together. Anyone who wants it, they can have it. I have a chart where the chart is a 30-day chart and an hourly chart and a day-by-day. So at this time you wake up and you do your morning practices. After that, you do your exercise. After that, take something to eat. After that, whatever work you do, right? And you dedicate that work to God. In the afternoon, take your meal if you need a meal. And then do your noon practices. After that, do whatever work you do. If you're on a job and you can work by yourself, or you do things that you can say mentally or even say out loud and nobody might be able to hear, you know, do the decrees. I am the conquering present. I command this I am present, govern perfectly my mind, home, affairs, and world. Or I am the quickening of the cells of this my brain structure, causing to the intelligent direction of the mighty and the present. If nobody's around you, and so you don't be drawing attention to yourself, you say the decrees like that, especially in the afternoon, because the afternoon is the most difficult time to do these decrees because of our busy lives. But when you get that opportunity to just bang it out, to get down with the get down, to don't play with this, you are going to see results. And when things hit you hard and you find yourself not being able to contain your lust, not being able to control your criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, go into silence. If we were to go into silence in the most part of our life, we wouldn't be doing wickedness. We wouldn't be sinning or anything, because it is generally through the power of the spoken word that we're going off, saying things, being insensitive, being whatever it is that we be. If you really serious, if you really want to attain what it is that you already are, if you really want to attain getting out of the ego and back into your God self, you will do it. Just like a person who wants to earn $1 million or wants to earn $1 billion, you will put the work in, you will do it. Okay, let me continue. Okay. I'm at the top of 230, right, Brother Semiku?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's the first paragraph, is it? I think here that I should explain to you the most important, the most desirable thing that anyone can do is to fix within his or her mind the one permanent necessity, and that is to keep at it until you reach so deeply and firmly into the mighty I am present that all love, all light, goods, and riches flow into his life and experienced by an inner propelling power that naught of outer personalities may at any time, anywhere, ever interfere with. In other words, keep on going. Just keep on going. Keep on going, no matter how many mistakes you make. I want to say this right now, is what we read in here, Saint Germain said. God does not care about our mistakes. God don't care of what we did that was wrong. You're going to pay for it one way or another. He only cares, or she only cares, about us becoming God conscious, about us going back into our God self. That's what God cares about. That's the objective. And all the experiences that we are experiencing is designed to bring us back, good or bad, designed to bring us back to our God self. Like a person that loses their, like the Bible says, they lose the one sheep, they're going to go find that one sheep. Shoot, if I lose a book, I'm looking for that book, and I know it's in the house somewhere, but I'm going to look for that book until I find it, to know it is in my bookshelves, right? So powerful these books have been in our life, right? But we're not a book, and we're not a sheep. Imagine how God feels, our noetic self, our thinking self. We're the doer self of that same construct, that Trinity construct. We are a God being. Imagine if a God being gets lost. Do you think the rest of that Trinity is not duty bound to bring us back into the construct, to bring us back out of our ego into the Trinity that we are? If you don't know, it is. And that's what he cares about. You murdered somebody, okay, you went to war, you did all this, that, and the other, all right. Now let's get back. Let's get back to our God self. And there's many examples of people in the scriptures who have been to war, who have been killers, who have been healers, who have been this, that, and the other. What matters to God is we get back to our God self. We are going to experience, in one way or another, the fruits of our actions. And like my guru said, the fruits always corresponds to the actions. If you're going for it, you'll nullify some of the negative things that you did through speaking, by repeating the mantras, by repeating the decrees, by praying, by doing good acts. You will nullify, you'll expiate for what you have done. But you got to take into consideration, you have done a mountain of things you should not have done. That's how we're living, especially here on earth. And if this is the most wicked planet in the universe, what did we do to get to be born here? Let me continue. This is the object of true training. This is why students were brought into the retreats as they could be found ready. And that's a rare person, or sufficiently progressed, because as I have said before, it is easy enough to solve your problems as they come along. But I ask you, what good does it do to continue to solve problems unless you have something, somewhere to which you can anchor that which raises you above the consideration of any problem? To find your I am presence and anchor to it is the only desirable thing to do. Until you come to this point of firm anchorage to your great I am presence, of course, it is necessary to solve your problems as they come along. But how much better is it to enter into and set free the mighty presence, energy, and action which has already solved the problems before they appear to you? Is this not more acceptable than to awaken every morning to find these problems coming up, staring you in the face as though they were something really important, which after all, they are not? Yet I am sure you will agree with me that some of them, or at least your outer sense about them, is that they are tremendously ponderous. With your glorious obedience to the divine principles of the created being, you shall move along the pathway with your armor of indestructible protection buckled on until the intensity of the very light that you enter into will no longer require that armor. Is it not worth all the effort it takes to accomplish it, that you may evermore in this glorious freedom? Then when you awaken in the morning, you will no longer find these visitors appear, the problems in your life that you had before. As I have spoken these words, I have held you, each one, in the searchlight of my vision, even without your permission, so that when you hear these words, you will feel the inner conviction of them with a strength which will delight you. When critical or disturbing thoughts try to find entrance into your consciousness, slam the door quickly and command them to be gone forever. You know, like those who have seen
It's a jewel.
it's a jewel. The book is a jewel. We deliver in jewels. We should call this program the Jewel Deliverance. Anyway, I remember in this movie, which I think is the greatest movie of all times, and in fact, it was manifested when they went into the Oscars. Every Oscar. That was what I read this book 3 times. I got the gold bound edition of this. I don't see how this book could be out of my mind at this time. It's Lord of the Rings. When Smeagol said, "Leave now and never come back," and he said it 3 times. Leave now and never come back. Leave now and never come back. This is what we should be saying to our ego. Disturb me no longer. All of your criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, your wickedness, your hate, your resentment, your jealousy, all of that, go. Leave me alone. Your lust, leave me to my own being, to my God self. Bye. See ya. I don't want to hear from you anymore. Ask. If you find it difficult to get out of this ego that you created, ask God for help. Just ask for help. Just reading this information right now is giving you that help. But they can't do our work for us. They cannot do our work for us. And they won't do our work for us. They will give you help when you need it, especially if you're really calling for it sincerely. But they will not give you your ascension. You give your ascension to yourself. Okay, let us continue. When critical, disturbing thoughts try to find interest into your consciousness, I read that. Slam the door quickly and command them to be gone. Right. Do not give them a chance. No, remembering always that you have strength, body, I am presence to do this. Should you have difficulty In holding the door shut, talk to your I am presence and say, see here, I need help. See that the door to this disturbance is closed, and keep it closed forever. Our mighty I am presence is waiting for us to put it to work for our freedom. Waiting. And here's a secret, and you're going to find this very difficult to believe. It has to move on what is right for us. It has to. It is duty bound to move on what is right. We have to call it into existence through the power of the spoken word or prayer, even silently uttered in your brain. We have to make that move. We have to go for it. And consider this also. How difficult it is for us to sit down and pray. How difficult is it for us to sit down and do decrees, or stand up, walk to and fro doing decrees, or chant, even walking, or chant. So many beautiful chants out there. How difficult is that? How difficult is it to sit down and meditate? Does that take a lot of energy? Does that take some great effort? Consider this. I want you to get fixed in your consciousness that, watching the time, I want you to get fixed in your consciousness that you can talk to your I am presence the same as you could talk to me, believing that I had limitless power, because I tell you, it is no idle commandment. It is no idle comment when I say you can cause this mighty presence to handle every condition in your entire experience and raise you into its freedom and dominion of all things. In other words, you can have a conversation with God, and don't think God won't talk back to you at times. It may not be a common experience, and it may be, but you can talk to God, and you should be talking to God at all times, saying, God, look, I'm tired of this. I want to be the God that left. And understand this too. You are not rising up into something. You're going back into that which you. Let's continue. As some of you have already reached into the activity of the universal substance, I want to call the attention of all of you to the fact that the substance of your bodies and this sustain seeming to be invincible. I want to read that again. I want to call the attention of all of you to the fact that the substance of your bodies and this substance seeming to be invisible about you is immensely sensitive to your conscious thought and feelings, like I was saying before, by which you can mold it into any form you wish. The substance of your body can, by your conscious thought and feeling, be molded into exquisite, beautiful form. Your eyes, hair, teeth, skin made dazzling with radiant beauty. This should be very encouraging to the ladies, and I am sure will be to the gentlemen, only they do not like to admit it. Beloved brothers and sisters, this is Saint Germain speaking, y'all. He's talking about, and he's going to give some techniques here how you can change your form. Beloved brothers and sisters, when you look into the mirror, say to that which you see there, through the intelligent beauty which I am, I command you to take on perfect beauty of form, for I am that beauty in every cell of which you are composed. You shall respond to my command and become radiant beautiful in every way, in thoughts, words, feeling, and form. I am the fire and beauty of your eyes, and I carry forth this radiant energy into everything into which I look. That's a decree, y'all. How many times you got to look into the mirror and say this, that your body will not change? And he gives other decrees and techniques on how you can change your body over time to be youthful and beautiful. Now check this out. Let me just continue. Because he's going to be dropping it right here. Thus, you can cause to come into appearance the perfection which will give you all the encouragement you want to know that I am always the governing presence. I wish to say to you who desires your form to become more symmetrical, start your hand at the shoulders. He's dropping it. These are jewels, y'all. You only got to practice them now. You're hearing it. All you got to do is practice it now. This is unbelievable, but bust it. I wish to say to you who desires your form to become more symmetrical, start your hand at the shoulders and bring them down over the body to the feet, feeling the perfection of symmetry of the form you wish. Through your hands will go the energy or quality which you desire to manifest. If you will try this with deep, earnest feeling, you will be amazed at the results. This is the greatest reducer in the world. This, I assure you, will cause the flesh, as it comes into more beautiful symmetry and perfection, to become firm and yet supple in every way, because you are sending the energy of the I am present through these cells, causing them to obey your command. This may sound ridiculous, but I tell you, it is one of the best, surest, and most perfect ways to bring about the perfection of the body. I tell you, anyone who will practice this will bring the body into any condition that one desires. See, now I want to get rid of the belly. I want to get down a good 20 pounds. And I've been practicing this. Let's see how it goes, y'all. We got to get down with the get down. If we want to manifest what we are reading, we have to practice these techniques. If we do, you will see the results in your own life, in your own world, in your own mind and body. I want the students to get the fullness of the idea that they are masters of their form, their minds, and their world, and can inject into them whatsoever they wish. The pure and perfect life of God is flowing through you every instant. Why not switch off the old design and switch on the new? Do you not see how important it is to perfect the body? Let's say that last line again. Do you not see how important it is to perfect the body? What can an inner presence do with a body that is sick or out of harmony at all the time? When this is the case, the intention becomes so fixed upon the body that the I am presence cannot get the attention but a little part of the time. It is so easy if you will but do it. With this statement of the flesh, with the energy of the I am presence, it can become firm and perfect. The reason I speak of this with such deep, earnest feeling today is because I see the change and improvement in almost everyone. And by special conscious attention to this, how much more quickly will each be brought into the perfection which he desires. When an individual has an abnormal abdomen, like the average individual at this time in America, right? And anything that is more than straight is abnormal. He should raise his left hand like this, in this position, palm up. Here's your palm, it's up, right? Move the right hand in a rotary motion over the abdomen, moving from left to right. Each time the hand passes over it, feel deeply the absorbing activity. Let me give you an example of what he's saying. You're holding your hand up, right? And what you're doing is you're trying to get your hand, you're trying to bring in the energy into your abdomen to correct this energy that we're from left to right, right? I'm going left to right. And as you're saying this, you know, you can even say a decree, but you don't have to, because he didn't say a decree, but you can, right? Find one of the decrees that's dealing with health, or you can make up a decree. You know, I'm the quickening of the cells in this my body, bringing about perfect perfection of my abdomen. I'm the quickening of the cells in this my body, bringing perfect physical perfection, you know, like this. And feel the energy from your hand going into your abdomen to dissolve unnecessary energy, unnecessary fat cells. And just do this. Practice it 5 minutes of the day and see what happens. See what happens when you start practicing these techniques. See what happens after that. Because it's not true until you make it true. Watch what happens. Right? What is he saying? Each time the hand passes over it, feel deeply the absorbing energy. The quick charge of energy through the hand goes into the cells, contracting and reducing them into a normal condition. I assure you this instruction is no idle fancy, but is of tremendous import, and it will accomplish the purpose for which it is used, absolutely without questions, if applied with earnest feeling. The consciousness, of course, should be that the energy flowing through the right hand is the all-powerful absorbing presence, consuming the unnecessary cells and bringing the body into a perfect normal condition. This will not only adjust the abnormal size of the abdomen, but penetrate through the form, charging the intestinal activities with a cleansing, purifying process, which will be inestimably benefit, which will be of inestimable benefit. Those who have found the activity of those organs lazy will find them quickening, will find them quicken into normal action. I assure you that the ladies will not need to use rolling pins or roll on the floor. Also, I assure you the ladies are not the only ones who use rolling pins. Is there any questions or comments at this time? Okay. The unfortunate, almost appalling condition is that individuals having within them this mighty God presence will give every imaginable power to outside things to produce results within and upon themselves. When whatever remedial agent they use, whether external drug, whether exercise, drugs, or anything else, has little effect. If any, except the quality and power they have consciously given these agents, the treatment acts upon the cells wherever they are, but their bones and flesh, be they bones or flesh. How prone the outer mind is to the ability of the inner self to handle any part of the body. If it will handle one kind of a cell, it will handle all. Make the outer accept the full power of the inner presence, and thus let it command into use in all things. I want to comment on that last statement. When I take, let's say, some of the natural things that, especially Uncle Hank gives us, right? Kaliba, the tea, Co 60, a rejuvenating remedial natural herbs, right? I'm looking at it as God is doing this. I'm just doing what little help I can bring to bring about what it is I want to bring about. When I'm saying the decrees, God is doing it. I'm just uttering the words. And even my voice is God's voice, right? God helps those who help themselves. But it is God that's doing the work as surely as he is pumping the blood through our body and he is breathing in and out of our lungs. All of this is done by him as he is digesting the food that we eat and excreting it so it doesn't contaminate the body worse than it's already contaminated. All activities are God in action. If we have the right mindset, we are just helping God help us. Like the scriptural injunction said, God helps those who help themselves. Prayers without actions are dead, right? Like that. But to think that a drug that we take or whatever it is that we're taking is that it's doing it is to really think wrongly. It's God doing the work. Let me continue. We got 4 more minutes. So are there any questions or statements that whoever's listening to this right now want to ask or make?
I have a question, Lalji. Where it says make it on page 236 at the top, make the outer accept the full power of the inner presence, and thus let it expand into the use of all things. So what exactly what is the outer?
The outer is the ego. The outer is the ego. The outer is the human. When they speak of human, they're speaking of a thing that's going to die, a thing that has gone wrong, a thing that is out of the self. When they speak of the I am present, they're speaking to you as your God self, the real you. The real you does not need mantras, chanting, nothing. It's already perfect. Your spirit is perfect. It is the mind and the body that we need to bring back into order. And mostly
so
the mind.
the inner self is the I am.
The inner self is the I am.
Okay, so why would they be in conflict if the body is all one unit?
We are immortal beings we are immortal beings in an immortal body, right?
Okay.
The body is out of sync with ourselves, and naturally, that's how it is when you come into this existence. But the chore and the task is to raise this body into perfection, to raise this mind into perfection. Now, the smart way to go about it is not to raise up the body, but to raise up the mind, because the mind will then raise up the body automatically, right? It's like that. We have to overcome the condition of this third dimensional reality, right? Every atom is God. We have gone into God with our presence, with the God energy that's coming directly in our head. Like I said, and like I will continue to say, once it gets past here, we are that God. And when Saint Germain says, it's understand that you have a tremendous power at your in your hands for you to unleash or to use. That tremendous power is the I am presence. Imagine it like this. Within your body is coming into you, the God presence, and it looks like a whirling tornado entering into your head. It is God, it is the energy of God being poured directly into your head. But then after that, you are that God to do whatever it is that you want. That's the inner. Now, when you start doing what the outer does, which is all kind of, wrong activity, wrong words, wrong feelings. And sometimes we're doing this thing for decades and we don't know we're doing it. I mean, I know I've been in that situation so many times. I didn't even know I was doing wrong. When I was doing it, there was times I did know, but sometimes I didn't even know I was doing wrong. I was doing it unconsciously. But still, you have to pay for all that we do, unless we retract it, unless we bring it back into ourselves. Unless we cancel it, expiate for it. Decrees can nullify things that we've done. Is not the same, but it was the inner that created the outer. It's us and our God self as children being in that God reality that created that ego. Now, I'm not saying the ego should not have been created. The ego on planet Earth, to a degree, needs to be created. We just don't need to live in it as if it is us.
It's meant to be controlled, correct?
Without a doubt. It's meant to be controlled. It is an armor. It is a protective force. But we've made it more. We're making it ourselves. We're thinking we are this personality that we created, and we are not. It is.
Okay. Thank you.
Their friend offends them, they'll forgive them right away, just so they can keep playing, just so they can have fun together. And then after a while, they get tired of being abused, and so they build is next to building egos. Some of us go real far with it, and then we enter into the ego and we think this is who I am. Why? Because now nobody wants to bother us. Like, I'm a bad mama jama from Beekman Street. You mess with me, you bound to get beat. That kind of mentality. I'm not saying it's not necessary for a limited amount of time, but as you get older, you do not fight. You do not, you don't do it, because especially as us men, we know if we fight, somebody's gonna die. The blood is gonna be spilled. That's what we know. So we generally don't do it. And if we do it, it is not looked on as us being somebody of a power. It looks on us badly. It looks at us badly. Two men fighting, not a good thing. Especially if they're teeing off each other. It's another thing if somebody comes and, they're challenging you. You have to protect yourself. But it's a whole nother thing, you indulging in all of the wickedness that the earth is filled with. We know what we should and should not be doing. And the sad part of this is a lot of times we just don't know, even though we should know. Let me give you a good example of that. Here in America, to be egotistic and stuff, it seems to be so common. But if you're in Africa and you're in Asia, especially my experience in China and India, if as a grown person, you don't show humility, they automatically think you have psychological problems. There is something really wrong with you. And the truth of the matter is there is. There is something wrong with you. So in this way, we continue to move. Okay, it is 12:34. I'm gonna stop here. And if there are any more questions or comments, please. It seems like the only people that are here are me and you, Simiku. Can you see people on the Zoom? Because I can't see them. Simiku?
No, I can't see. I see a picture of somebody. That may be you with a brown jacket on, a black shirt.
That's not me.
Yeah, it's Baba.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lucretia's here.
Okay, all right.
I've been here the whole time.
Okay. I'd like to be able to see the people that's in the Zoom. I guess we'll figure out a way if it's possible. Anyway, so we're at the top of page 236. I'm gonna leave it there because as Sister Lucretia generally lets me know when I'm going over our time. I'll mark this page. And
you kept calling out the time, Bob. I saw you had it, but I was here to back you up if you needed me.
I know you are. I want to tell everybody in the group, Sister Lucretia, it ain't just Sister Lucretia, Brother Simiku, and many of the sisters and brothers that's in this discourse, y'all have definitely been at this for many lifetimes, or you would not be interested in it. And the average person that I'm dealing with in this group is high powered, and I've seen that. Sister Lucretia, Sister Naima, Sister Tiffany, Sister Kim. Is Sister Kim here today? Are you on, Sister Kim? Is she here? She's not here today.
I don't see her in the Zoom, no.
I did remember her saying that some Sunday she has to go to work. Nonetheless, this is a powerful group of individuals, has been my experience. And I thank y'all for being my Huckleberry friends, because it's a great experience traveling with y'all doing this work. So I'm going to end this page with my Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba picture. Oh, it's in the other book. It's in the Ramayana. Okay, here we go. I'll take it from here.
Yeah, I hear a lot about him in Senegal all the time.
What'd you say?
I hear a lot about him in Senegal all the time, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba.
Yeah, get his books. Read about his adventures,
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
Definitely work. Not only him, but Simeon Togo. Thanks for putting that picture up. And the guy on the right in the white, that's Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba. The guy on the left is his disciple. So I'm going to close this session with Nitya Nandaya Gurave Shisha Samsara Harine Bhaktakaya Namaste Chitsaratmane Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachidananda Murtaye Nish Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Sahana Vavaktu Sahano Bunaktu Sahaviryam Karnava Vahe Tejas Vinavadi Tamastu Ma Vivisha Vahe Om Shanti 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 Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Everyone, have a wonderful day. God bless you, your family, your friends, your desires.
Say often, yes, I am supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. Take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%. If you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal.